Hello and welcome to Blood on the Severn, a Vampire the Masquerade Chronicle set on Bristol, England in the year 2017. With me tonight,
Bex playing Nam Dazal of the Ministry.
Peter playing Janusz Kroll of Clan Chimitsu.
Rob playing Dermot Bryan of Clan Malkavian.
Alice playing Matilda Wells of Clan Ventrue.
thank you for joining us tonight on this. This is the mid-season finale of Season 3 for Blood on the Severn. And last week saw a few of important developments that the coterie are now sort of trying to deal with. Most importantly, as a little bit of a recap from last session, Dermot was left to his own devices trying to figure out what that person from the cobweb reaching to him was. What did they want? And after a conversation with Nathaniel, it became clear that this person was none other than Sophie Woods, a very old Malkavian, but just in terms of when they were embraced, they have not been active for centuries. A seer that foretold the Black Plague and was tormented by her visions, and had asked for the right of destruction to be served upon her, being fairly religious from a kindred from the 1600s. The decision was made to put her into torpor. So Prince Nathaniel asked Dermot to make arrangements for an all-clan conversation. She is still, in terms of her age, technically an elder. Of course, she is effectively a neonate that has been in torpor for centuries, but yes, still, decisions need to be made on a clan-wide basis. So that conversation is happening later tonight. On the side of Matilda, she had the opportunity to talk to Audrey and see how Squid was still, he's still smoldering on. His condition has worsened a lot. He's smoldering away. He was slowly being burned. So they decided to put him in a big bathtub with tons of ice and salt and water to keep his temperature cool, submerged completely in that sort of icy grave. Then she had a chat with the coterie, and together with Nangisel, they are trying to figure out a way in which she can have a conversation with Obasi and understand it, or in hopes of understanding or gleaning a way out of a life boon, reducing it somehow, leveraging what she has. Nangisel offers to cash in a minor boon she had attained the previous night when she was accompanied Dermot, a boon that she has over the prince of the city, Prince Nathaniel of the Camarilla, that she got in exchange for her silence with regards of the conversation of Sophie Woods, the Malkavian elder air quotes. Janesh, in the meantime, had a very important conversation with the librarian. He needed to know, or at least he wanted established, that his domain is his. It is the land that belongs to him. It is not a part of the greater Bristol. It is not one of the many territories that are owned by the different factions. It is unequivocally his, or at least that was his argument. Given that the librarian is now, thanks to the old accord, the Forgotten Accord, sort of the ruler of the whole domain of Bristol, he needed to know. And after a little bit of back and forth, where he first provided all the information he had with regards of Annie and the murders that had transpired in the few years the librarian had been in torpor, it was agreed that in exchange for a minor boon from Janesh, a precedent would be set in which that specific haven of his, that specific land that belongs to Janesh Kroll, it is considered neutral ground and not a part of Bristol. He is the lord of his own tiny domain. The night ended after many shenanigans throughout the night that included other weird things like Dermot being completely Masquerade breachy, stigmatized, or Nangisel trying to figure out how to deal with Ragnar. The night ended with a conversation between Matilda and Nangisel, in which Matilda, mentioned that she was in charge of finding the people responsible for the death of the Anarchs, the death of the Camarilla after the Anarch retaliation. And given that one of the victims was a Malkavian, someone, a friend of Dermot's and someone he cares deeply about, or at least he did, Nigel suggested that she come clean, for it would be better for Dermot to hear it from her than from somebody else. So we're going to jump back right into the same very evening, where the four of you are still in the HQ, and Dermot and Nangisel were making preparations to, Dermot to assist this Malkavian conclave of sorts, in which the fate of Sophie Woods would be decided. And Nangisel then would take the opportunity to have a chat with Prince Nathaniel with regards of the boon she holds over him. So, you're still all in the HQ. Anything you would like to do, like conversations as a group? Anything you would like, wish to? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you're still there. Nigel and Matilda come back from their short chat outside. And Dermot and Janice are inside after their own conversation about, is it right to kill someone just because, and all of those things.
And it is just anyway.
Put it that
way. So Yanis will say, as they're coming back in, he'll be saying to Dermot something like, "Of course, whatever our differences of opinion may be, we are agreed on one thing. You are correct, I believe, that Annie is the greatest threat to this city at this time, and she has the means to communicate with the Society of Leopold in addition to all of her own twisted blood rituals. And she has committed crimes against all of the factions and all of us. We must find a way to catch her."
Yep, I'm gonna chat to Oscar tonight and see what he has to say. So
fingers crossed you know where she is.
Good.
Yeah, they're Duck's thieves, aren't they? So might be so.
She's a crafty one.
Yeah.
So anything we can get to try and point us in the right direction, that'd be good.
Yeah.
Fine.
See what we can get out of him. I mean, he was fine when he was all right when he was here. So
this he might try and extract boons from you.
yeah, that's a question. If he does ask for it, are we comfortable giving coterie boons?
No.
No.
Not when this is a matter of Bristol security and that we have been, like the other multi-faction coteries, instructed to solve this problem. Surely, as a member of the city, he would like to aid us in this, especially as it is his clan that are at fault. If they could look after their own, this would not be a problem.
I'll put the screws on him, for sure.
Yes.
I don't think he's in a position necessarily to withhold information if he knows that we're working for the library and we're working for the city.
Yeah.
It depends what he knows or what he doesn't know, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, I'll puzzle him out.
Good.
Speaking of which, we've got to go and see the prince in a minute.
And
got to make some sort of recompense for this poaching thing. Now, obviously, he's getting a boon back, but I thought I'd ask you, what else is a good way to do this? What's an appropriate apology?
I hear he likes jam.
He likes jam?
Aye.
You're taking the piss, mate?
Yes, I'm taking the piss.
Well, I suppose this is a matter of stolen blood. Perhaps.
Well, that's a bit strong, isn't it?
That is.
When you put it like that, it sounds bad.
Well, that is what you do when you poach. You steal blood from the domain of another, and you potentially risk the masquerade in their home. So if you are looking for a way to make recompense, perhaps an offer of something similar.
What, I should give him my blood?
Not your blood. But perhaps you might say there is, should ever there come a time, he might have permission to feed in your domain, for example.
But in mine, is it? It's yours.
Well, this domain is ours.
In the shared domain.
What do you think? Are we all right with that?
Yeah.
Well, given that two of you, was it the same domain? Is it the same?
No,
Same
different
faction, but different people.
Different.
Seeing as it is the same faction that has lost out, it would seem one option. There is something else that I should inform you of that might be of use, though it is not something. Well, I will explain. You'll understand. You are aware that the old accords are what enabled the librarian to take power in this time, and that Bristol is, of course, governed by such things. There are other ancient treaties that exist that concern my home and the land that it sits on. And I have recently come from the librarian, who has acknowledged that officially it is written now. He has acknowledged those old treaties, which mean in essence that my land is not part of Bristol. In kindred society, what this means is, though it is a small area, within that area I have certain rights that cannot be usurped by any other kindred here in the city. Now, I mention this because you are all about to go and try and negotiate with a number of people for a number of different things. And whilst I'm not making a promise to you, it is something, if your back was to the wall, that you could at least offer to try and negotiate on their behalf in exchange for their help, and so on and so forth.
Your house where you live
Yes.
is not part of the domain of Bristol anymore.
The land around my home is now considered not connected to the library or the Anarchs or the Camarilla or the Autarchus. It is mine.
But don't that mean that they ain't got to come to your aid if shit goes down? If the society comes to your house, they ain't got to send anyone because you're not part of their domain anymore.
Yes, it means that in essence that is true, though I remain part of the library. So if I was under threat, that is a thing. I still am part of Bristol society. I am not without obligation to that society, but it means, for example, that if someone wished to sire a child, for example, admittedly that child would have a very small area to walk around. That is a thing that could happen.
But
that is a thing that I could grant permission to. Although for that child to leave, we would need to negotiate with others.
But they ain't going to see it that way, really. They're not going to see it that your domain ain't part of Bristol, but you're still part of Bristol's domain. That's not how vampires work, is it?
Well, it is what the librarian has agreed.
Well, I mean, I think this is...
It's not the only place that's kind of the case. I mean, frankly, if you take the Chantry, for instance, you know, them Tremere, they don't let anybody in but themselves, so they have their own little space there.
That's true, but the Tremere Chantry ain't at risk of being overrun by the Society of Leopold, is it? They don't know exactly where it is.
It's all just an extension of the whole domain thing, really.
No, it's dangerous, is what it is.
So, Janusz,
you go on your own.
No.
Yeah, that's what it means.
It is quite isolationist, but if you're
well, he can always ask for help, you know. I'm sure the librarian would be more than happy to offer him some help for a
There's no obligation now, is there? Like there were before.
There was no obligation before. There is no obligation if someone attacks the domain, this coterie domain, on anyone else to do anything. It is our duty to defend it.
But no, because your domain is no longer part of the coterie domain because it belongs to you. It's not part of Bristol.
I mean that this area is the sole responsibility of the four of us. My home is my concern, yes. Though I would point out that you also live there, Nanjazal.
I mean, Janusz, if you're are you comfortable giving this information up?
I am saying that if the Prince of the Camarilla is giving you both a very difficult time and you have nothing to offer him, then you could offer potentially to negotiate with me on a matter like this. He may have ways he would wish to take advantage of this.
All I've got to say is just quickly is that, obviously you said about stolen blood and all, but you can't, when you offend somebody, you can't just give back. If you got caught with your hand in the till and all, you can't just give back the money. You need to actually say sorry in some way. So I'm just saying,
I thought he might want more than that.
Yes,
because he's older.
He probably wants a little bit more than just what you took. That's all I'm saying.
Yes, he will want apology. He will want what he has lost, and he will want some appreciation of the fact that it was taken without permission.
Well, he's having that. I just meant actual things, what I could offer him.
The other thing you could offer, and I'll look at Dermot, and I'm like, this doesn't leave this room. For now. Do I have your word? Yeah.
Aye. You got my word.
Thank you.
What do you want about?
I know who one of the Anarch murderers are. The one who killed the Malkavian. So if he is angry, if he threatens you or us, or it's not really in his nature, but if you feel like there's nothing else you can say that we have that information.
Well, I think that's a nice little carrot, that is. I won't say nothing,
Yeah.
Don't think me and Derek could be talking to him at the same times.
Well, we should probably get moving, Nanj. Can't wait around forever.
All right.
I got a meeting to get to before you have all your fancy stuff with him.
Yeah, I gotta go.
Okay. So
thanks for sharing, guys. I mean, I appreciate the trust you're putting on us with sharing this information.
You're welcome.
Dermot and Nangisel make their way to the Malkavian meeting, while Matilda starts making phone calls, trying to get a hold of Oscar to see him in as soon as possible, and Nangisel goes back to his domain. So let's jump into the conversation of the clan Malkavian. By the time Dermot gets to the place, pretty much all of them have already arrived. And it's just a technicality wait for the few minutes plus 3. Specifically, Hubert said that we needed to wait an additional 3 minutes. So it's 3 minutes past the hour. When exactly at that point, someone, the last person, arrives. Prince Nathaniel addresses his clan. Thank you all for coming tonight. Our clan and our ties have always been very strong, and I appreciate how difficult the last few nights have been for all factions. But what I want to discuss this evening is a matter of our blood. Specifically, one of our blood who has been for many years sleeping. She was a seer during the time of the Black Plague, before it even. She was tormented by those visions, and at that time, as a favor to her bloodline, I agreed to have my bloodline be the custodians of her body while she was in torpor. Her last custodian was Priscilla, and he turns to Dermot, Dermot's sire. But ever since his passing, Dermot has taken care of her. It is known by others now that she exists in the city. She has always remained a part of the secret records of the library as a Boon that was exchanged by her bloodline centuries ago. She is a citizen of Bristol, and even though it might sound like she's an elder, she's barely a neonate, a few years past her recognition. I wanted to mention this to you because a petition has come to my door for her awakening. And even though she's not technically an elder, according to the Camarilla, she might still seem very ancient to others. I just want to understand if there is any reason why we shouldn't do this. Hubert is just looking down, like trying to avoid the gazes of people that often shoot him glances. There are a few murmurs and whispers. No one actively says much. Not straight to Nathaniel. There is just the one obvious question that is posted. It's like, so this is a Camarilla Malkavian, right? Says Lawrence Bansworth, an autarkis Malkavian. If she's Camarilla, does this affect the numbers of the factions and how they're represented? No, Lawrence. As I said, she has always been in the records of the library, so when the librarian establishes the correct kindred population here in Bristol, and how it should be divided amongst the factions to maintain the balance, she is counted, but she's always counted as a neonate. Therefore, the Camarilla has been ever so slightly weaker than they should be, but is compensated through boons. Everybody looks at each other. It's not like the most massive of gatherings. It's just 8 people. Dermot, what are the intentions of your coterie once she's awakened? You mentioned that you wanted to ask her some questions. Is that something that you can share with us here? I want to make sure that everybody understands how important our clan it is to me, to us. And I wouldn't want anyone to think that I would subject poor Sophie to more trauma that she has already experienced.
In fairness, Your Majesty, it's troubling times, but she's the one who reached out to me. So I'm just trying to respect her wishes. If she's as seer as you say, might be she's got some stuff to share in these challenging times. And
So Derek Williams, the Primogen, says, well, I wouldn't want to speak out of turn, my prince, but in terms of propriety, she's a member of our clan. One that I wasn't aware of. So it would be helpful if I, in my role as Primogen, petitioned for her awakening so her wishes could be granted, so she can be presented to me, and so I can help in any matter. Perhaps she wants to return to her sleep afterwards. Perhaps she wants to rejoin us. And it would be my responsibility should that be the case. What I'm trying to say, my lord, is I am willing to accept on the responsibility of her by assigning someone to tutor her and aid her. And they look at each other, Nathaniel and Derek, and with a sort of like a sideways acknowledgement, Nathaniel reluctantly nods and says, "Thank you, Derek. Thank you. I believe then it is settled. I will awaken Sophie, as it is my right to awaken a member of my faction, a current citizen of Bristol. I will notify the library to update their records. Hubert?" And Hubert just nods, still looking down. So it's basically the library has been notified. Due process has been observed. Also, Hubert, have you sent out the rescheduled appointments that I asked? And he again nods, very uncomfortable, clearly uncomfortable with the large amount of people here. Even though they're all Malkavian, it's more people than he usually is happy to have around. Well, thank you then. If anyone, even if no one has anything else to say, I thank you all for coming. And then slowly a lot of people just leave.
I'll be trying to catch a couple of the people, just to stop them and at least exchange some pleasantries. Nothing significant.
Basic socializing. Yeah, you stop at the door and say farewell to each of them individually.
Yeah, but specifically trying to catch the Anarch and Autarchus individuals to try and at least, those that I haven't talked to properly before, just have a little bit more of a chance to talk to them, and also acknowledge, Lawrence about his question.
Yes.
Certainly, the thing I'll be mentioning to the Anarch couple will be that, obviously there's been some bad blood, but I hope that doesn't extend, obviously, to us as clan.
The one who is most conversationalist in that regard is Lucinda. Lucinda Brighstow is a representative. Is an Anarch representative. Is one that you introduced to Matilda. And of course she's very sociable in that regard and says, like, I understand, and I am really, really sorry for what happened the nights following our election. It was very confusing, and it's very tragic that any kindred needed to die, really, especially poor Oscar. He was blameless. This is very sad. I would like to present my apologies directly to the prince, but I wouldn't want to speak out of turn from the other representatives. You know how it is with the council. It's different.
Well, of course. But I'm sure that he knows how you feel about it. We are clan after all.
He does. He knows how I feel.
That's all that matters. We look after one another, right?
She puts her hand in your arm and squeezes and says, "Yes, and I find comfort in that. Thank you, Dermot.
Good.
Thanks for reaching out." And with
It's
that,
good to see you.
lovely seeing you too. With that, she leaves. Nathaniel, of course, is going to be making his way towards a different seating area. And someone will call Nanjasel to step in.
Okay. So I'll go in. I will make whatever I think is the most appropriate greeting. So I suspect I think that this is to bow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Who else is that? Just him?
Yeah, and the girl who walked you in, who turns away and leaves. So,
am I still there, or have I left at this point?
you
I didn't
are
know whether or not I was due to be.
You are in the vicinity, but they're in a corner. So it is up to Nanjasel if she wants you to join or not, because she can easily make it. Like, she has to walk past you to get to Nathaniel. So you can exchange a word or a look or something.
I've got no issue with them being there.
Okay.
So
I'll stay at a slight distance. I mean, I'll approach so that I'm there, but I'm not listening in, as it were, and just keeping a slight distance.
Okay.
So I can give her a lift back home later.
Yeah.
Okay. So I will say
Nanjasel, twice in 2 nights. What a delightful occurrence. I mentioned you wanted to do something about the Boon.
Right, that's right. I start by saying I hope your evening tonight has been better than it was yesterday.
It has been difficult, but yes, better than yesterday so far.
Well, hopefully this might make it better. I want to have a discussion with you about the boon we exchanged. As far as I mean to go on, I and one of my coterie mates owe you an apology. So I've come here and used this boon to have this audience with you in order to tell you about a transgression that's occurred and to offer you recompense for it.
I'm afraid I don't know what you're talking about.
I'll explain. There have been 2 instances in recent times, one with myself and one with Matilda Wells, who's also in my coterie. I don't know if you know about her.
Yes. Lovely Matilda. I don't know her very well. I know her by reputation, sadly.
Well, she is nice. She's nicer than me, for sure. I'll say it is a case that both of us have in recent times made a similar mistake. And it's the same kind of mistake in that we was hungry and we ended up eating in the wrong place. And
you see sort of the changing expression in his face when he was like, "Oh, okay, this is what it's about." Okay. Like,
so I say yes. So I will say, and in both cases, where we ended up eating was round your place, so to speak, if you get my meaning.
Camarilla territory, I assume.
Right. So first of all, I've come here to apologise to you, deeply and sincerely. It is not appropriate behaviour. It is not something that either one of us, wanted to do or intend to do again. We understand the nature of this kind of transgression. Matilda is not here herself, although she wanted to be, because I suggested that, given how she's an anarch and there's tension and whatnot, it might not be that well received. But I said that I would tell you that it was the 2 of us what were responsible, and not the other people in our coterie.
I see.
So, part of my reason for coming here and asking for this conversation was firstly to apologise and then to make recompense to you in order that this matter could be cleared up and forgotten. Now, it struck me when I was thinking about this, that we have taken from you something what was yours, and a good way to make amends for that is to offer you something back. And it seemed to me like something might be appropriate for you is a return of being able to feed in our coterie domain if you should need it, or maybe even for someone of your choice to do it, such that you're taking back what was yours, in that sense, from us. Now, we don't know if this is amenable to you, but as you might expect, I thought that since we had our agreement from the other night, it might be helpful for me if I could use that to make this conversation a private one.
Speaking of private, Giselle, who else is aware of
this?
And yes.
As far as I'm aware, the only other person that's aware of it is Lord O'Bassey.
And he has a really puzzled expression.
I mean, that might not be his title. I'm sorry.
No.
It's Venture Primogen.
Yes. I was asking if your other coterie mates, Dermot and Janice, do they know? Are they aware?
Yeah. Yes, they're aware.
O'Bassey, you say. Primogen O'Bassey.
Right. He knows about it.
And he just...
Well, I don't know how he knows about it, but he does know about it.
His eyes just drift away and apparently fixated in an invisible speck of dust somewhere. And he starts...
I just relax.
And he starts muttering to himself something. Well, I see. This is actually most informative, Giselle. But seeing that your coterie knows, then I hope you don't have an issue with me calling Dermot to join us.
No, not at all, sir. You do whatever you think is best.
He turns around and sort of beckons Dermot to approach.
Oi, Your Majesty.
He briefly tells you, I'm here. She just told me. So he puts you up to speed with what she's offering. He says, I feel that tonight is a special night for my clan. Because what we had here earlier is what has always been my vision of the city. Kindred of different opinions. Looking past them. Looking past their differences. And seeing what's similar. In our case, it was our clan. But you and I ourselves are not much different, Giselle. We're both kindred. Yes, different bloodlines, but in essence, we are a lot more similar. We have more similarities in common, more things in common than we would have with kind.
For sure.
This is a vision that has always been also part of Roger. That's why we have been friends for so long. We try to see past those things. Sadly, some people did not see past their own blind rage. I have talked long with Roger Smith about what happened in the death of the members of my sect. Actions and measures need to be taken. He said that he had instructed both Matilda and Chris, his opponent in the election, to find those responsible. the librarian asked me not to further escalate things, which has made me feel very powerless, but also people in my sect are not liking that we cannot get involved in seeking recompense. The regent of the Tremere, my sheriff, cannot be let loose on those who violated the rules of the city. The right of destruction was not properly addressed.
Your Majesty, if Raja said that he's asked people to find them, as you said, your friends, has he indicated in any way what his intentions are when he finds these people, these transgressors?
Well, the only reason I agreed to what him and the librarian proposed for Teach was on my side. He was very much adamant on the fact that should an autarky suffer the same fate, no one would be able to stop him in seeking retribution. So it was agreed that I decide the punishment, and I have full right of destruction to those parties being considered guilty unless there are attenuating circumstances.
I'll shoot Dermot a glance at this point, because I want to see if he's gonna... I basically want to be led by him as to whether or not we should cough up additional information here. So I'll just glance at him and then back at the prince.
Well, this is I mean, obviously I'll follow your lead, Your Majesty, but just getting back to kind of the subject as was being discussed before, is this,
It is relevant, for one of the persons doing the investigation is Matilda, one of the people who transgress over the boundaries of the Camarilla.
So, if she had some information, like...
Yes, that could help. That would be what, in terms of Angel, that would be an appropriate recompense together with the offering of shelter. I would not go as far as to just seek it as in feeding grounds. The feeding grounds of your coterie are yours, but I would take the offer of shelter should I ever need it, for no longer than 3 nights.
All right. Well,
And information as
I think
recompense for the apology.
I reckon that that is a doable thing, don't you, Dermot?
Well, it depends on what young Matilda knows, I suppose.
If it's proven to be true, if it's good information, we can consider the matter settled.
Do you want me to get her on the phone, or do you want me to bring her down here? Such that, because the thing about information is it's only good for a short period of time.
Yes, I trust your word. So if you need to call her, and he hesitatingly looks at Dermot, I would assume you have a safe means to do so.
I can do so now if you want.
Yes, I will leave you to it, and I will wait for your reply.
Thank you for hearing me out, Your Majesty. Greatly appreciated, especially given the circumstances. We were the ones that were in the wrong.
Okay. You both stand and walk. Basis.
I'll step away with Dermot.
Yeah, with Dermot. Dermot, you can feel as if many strings behind your back people taught. Like you now have proper posture, and you see Nathaniel. He's just like looking to one side, but you feel that he's riding that cobweb.
Mm-hmm.
But not. He's more like looking for information, glimpses, so anything. You feel him feeling out the world around him, as if reaching out, trying to probably see. You have always known that he's been known as a seer, but to know that he complements his gift with the gift of your clan, that makes it quite powerful. So the two of you have a place to talk in private.
I'll say, you aren't going to tell him the other stuff.
Tell him what other stuff?
Stuff I told you about that I'm going to do tonight. I mean, it's down to you, isn't it?
Depends. We'll see.
All right. Leave it with you. Do you want a phone? You got a phone to phone on?
Let's give Matilda a call, shall we?
All right.
I'll give her a call on whatever phone I have and just put it on speaker for the two of us.
Okay. So Matilda is probably on her way. So she's also on speakerphone while she's driving, on her way to meet Oscar Cantor, the Tremere.
Okay. I'll pick up and just say, how did it go?
It's still going. We need to talk to you.
All right.
I'll wait for Dermot to elaborate.
It seems a proposal's been made. Nan just put forward the offer of feeding and some such in our domain as the coterie, which seems much as we discussed. But the prince seemed to indicate that from conversations with his friend Roger Stone that you'd been indicated as one of the people alongside Chris to look into the matter of who'd killed some camis. So, he was very interested in what you might know. And if you're willing to share some information, then that may well cancel up the debt and all.
He said that's what's going to be. If the information is good, it'll sway this and it'll be gone away. And that dicks it to Obasi, which we can all be happy with, and makes it so you and I aren't into shit.
Yeah, I'm not super keen on either of those. Carlos,
yes?
When I had that chat with Roger, and when he said that you need to look into it, am I remembering right that he indicate that he wanted the culprits brought to the Anarchs first, or was it just I want them caught?
He wants them. The impression you got is I want them caught. And also, it is going to be bad enough for you that, you're an anarch snitching on anarchs.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in a sense, you're not going against the wishes of Roger.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was just...
You wouldn't be going against... You don't feel that you would be going against him because you were told to investigate and find the guilty parties.
That's
and
fine.
now they are telling you that Nathaniel and Roger had come to an agreement. So actually, Nathaniel taking this off of your hands actually makes you look less guilty.
Yeah. In which case, I'll just say, tell him.
What information have you got that we can tell him now?
I know that Ragnar's admitted to killing the Malkavian.
Just the Malkavian?
Checking her notes frantically.
Was it just no? It was the other one as well? It was two of them.
Yeah.
This is a bloke that said that the prince wouldn't touch him, innit?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's him. So
I think it was the Malkavian and Michaela.
Michaela. He killed them both. And the thing is, he thinks he's untouchable. So I said to him, why are you telling me this? Why are you admitting it? And he said that the prince has some kind of information that means that he can get away with murder, literally. So I don't know how Nathaniel's going to react to it, because it sounds like he's got away with shit before. But this might be the last straw, because I don't think you can really get away with two.
Prince didn't seem like he was going to be in a forgiving mood, if I'm honest.
Well, I wouldn't.
Well, he did say that if there was mitigated circumstances, that there might be. I mean, it sounded like there's an agreement between the prince and your Raja that if it's up to kind of the prince what some of the outcome of this might be.
I'm happy for it to be in his hands, to be honest.
But frankly, I suppose the question I'd have is: did the gentleman in question, this nice Mr. Ragnar, show any kind of like remorse about what he'd done?
He was pleased as punch. You
We
can tell
see.
him that. He said he was boasting about it. He said
Oh, he needs a thump then, doesn't he?
So
Aye. Well, that's
You know
that's
what?
useful to know. That's useful context, you see.
drag his name through the mud. I don't care. And yeah, good luck. I think it'll be enough. Unless Ragnar has something ridiculous on the print and nothing's going to be done, but I'm not really sure. What
I
Might
can't
be a
remember
bit
this Ragnar. What clan is he?
Bruja?
No.
No,
He's a gangrel, isn't he?
Yeah.
gangrel. He's a gangrel.
Yeah, he's a gangrel.
Probably don't need to drag him through the mud then.
Probably would, don't he?
He'll be rolling in it, won't he? Right. Yeah. Well, you go back to Nathaniel. Good luck.
All right. Thanks, Matty.
Cheers, Nanj. Thanks, Dermot.
Hey, good luck.
Okay. So I assume the two of you go back to the table.
Yeah.
Nathaniel is there, as in a deep trance. But then, after a moment or two, when something tells him that you are there, he wakes up, drawn out of his reverie, and says, "Oh, apologies. Have you been waiting long for me?
No, you're right. We ain't.
Have you talked to Matilda?"
Yes, she definitely has some information.
Wow, she's good at that. That is it reliable information? How confident is she on what she has found?
Do you want me to, Nanj, or should you?
You can. She seemed pretty confident in it, Your Majesty.
Yeah, I mean, it sounded like one gangrel, this Ragnar fella, was bragging and cooing to her about how he'd done in a couple of the camis.
A couple? You mean?
Yeah,
Oscar and Michaela.
Our Oscar and Michaela, they was together, and he did.
They
them,
died together. Yes.
apparently.
Why would he be boasting about this? That he makes no sense.
Apparently, he seems to think that. Well, I mean, I don't know. He seems to. She mentioned something about something between the two yous.
Seemed to reckon he was subject of a prophecy of yours, Your Majesty. That what meant you weren't going to lay fingers on him.
And you see him, like, his face, like, surprised, and his hand starts, like, shaking. As in, what have I done kind of thing. And he shakily reaches inside, the inside pocket of his jacket, and produces a piece of paper, and opens it up, and puts it in front of you with very shaky hands. That says, the piece of paper says, rescheduling of appointments. And of course, Dermot immediately catches on. He's like, this is what he was mentioning to Hubert. Some appointments that needed rescheduling. Ragnar's name is in one of those, and the rescheduling of the appointment, it has the two dates, like when the appointment was supposed to be, and when is the new date. And you see some weird appointments there. Like, there is one that he will have with Reuben, that there was supposed to be an appointment between the two of them in the year 2023, and it has been rescheduled for the year 2035. But the one for Ragnar was rescheduled from 2028 to tomorrow. And he's...
Oh, I see.
See, I've got to be honest.
I did not have a prophecy for him. I had a vision that I would need to speak with him. Over the years, I get these visions, and I communicate with the library, through the library, to make the arrangements, so everything is done in time. But also since Hubert has been taking on the role of librarian, sorry, of herald in the library, not librarian. I mean, come on, poor Hubert. Ever since he took on the role, I have been able to reschedule easily whenever my visions tell me that something has changed. Could it be that this Ragnar took for granted a meeting that I have been petitioning for future years as a sign that he would at least live through anything until that date?
Could be.
I mean, possibly. I thought it was some kind of boon. He doesn't have any boons, over, does he?
No.
Your Majesty, does that mean he's, with respect, is it, if that is the case and you're right about that, does that mean it's safe for you to talk to him tomorrow?
Well, absolutely. I mean, I set up that. It's coming back to me. I set up that meeting originally almost 20 years ago.
So I reckon he thought, I think you're right, he must have thought that meant you needed him to stay around till then.
Or that no matter what would happen, my vision told me that he would be in Bristol and alive in the year 2028.
Right.
And maybe that is one of the reasons he has become so difficult to deal with, according to even members of the Anarchs. Could it be that he always thought himself...
Do you book like meetings like 10 years in advance?
Whenever I have the vision. Admittedly, Ragnar is well, his real name is unimportant. Ragnar is one of the longest ones I've had. As in, has stayed... The date has stayed there the longest. But I changed this through Hubert 2.5 weeks ago, with enough notice of the 2 weeks notice. 2.5 weeks ago, Ragnar is not even aware of the change yet. But Hubert is always
he
very
hasn't been
diligent.
informed about the change in the scheduling, because I presume Hubert, as diligent as he is, has put the meeting in with Ragnar. Then, did he originally?
Hubert notified. I asked him. You were there. You were there, and you can see him, like, he's struggling really with it. You were there. I asked Hubert, and he said that he had. Yeah. So I'm absolutely sure that Hubert, because I trust him, he sent that postcard. It's probably Ragnar who has not checked anything in that in his registered address.
Your Majesty, I something occurred to me about this. All this trouble over these nights kicked off because of this Tremere woman. And she claimed to have visions. She didn't have real visions, not like yours, but we reckoned she might have changed the minds of other people such that they thought they shared visions with her, or she changed their memories. Now I'm wondering, because she's still on the loose, whether or not she might have had some effect on this Ragnar chap, such that he thought that you were, I don't know, communicating with him or something like that.
Yeah, but no one but the library and Ragnar knew about our meeting.
But if she was in his head, she might know about it.
No, and it seems a bit obtuse for her randomly to make that kind of change. Somebody's memories.
Well, not if she was going to make him go berserk and threaten his majesty here. I mean, it might not be nothing. It just strikes me that your other appointments, you moved them forward, and this one you moved back.
But they always shift Ragnar this is the first time I changed that, but usually they change, they shift. That's
What's
what
significant about seeing him?
I just know I just know I have to deliver a message.
But it sounds like you got a message to deliver him to now, that he's he's done wrong.
Do you think you'll have the sheriff show up?
No.
For your meeting tomorrow?
This is something I will do myself.
All right.
Dermot,
I mean,
you said Matilda's information is that he confessed to this to her face.
Right.
Bragged, no regret, no remorse. Seemed happy as Larry about the fact that he'd done it.
And I mean, this poor man, this poor frail man, he looks very odd when he is angry. He's harmless, but you know when harmless people get angry and they don't know how to deal with it because they're not used to it. That's how Nathaniel looks. Like someone very much not used to being angry. He confessed, and he regrets nothing. He mistook my visions for an idea of immortality. Then I will, well, I guess I already have an appointment tomorrow to deliver.
Your Majesty, is this appointment supposed to be a private appointment between the two of you?
That's what I was angling after.
No.
Maybe it shouldn't be.
No, it isn't.
It's an audience, like in a court or something.
It is. It is not stipulated. The meeting is for me to be able to go through Anarch territory and into his haven. But now that I have a confession, and also the permission, the sort of the previous permission of the library, I wonder. Hubert knows full well no interfaction transit is allowed, yet he made the change. That speaks of the trust he had of me not stepping out of line. I will take this information to the librarian and Roger. They will accompany me tomorrow. If he confessed, then he will be executed tomorrow night.
Sir, can I assume this puts us level, like, this information?
Yes. Forget me feeding or seeking refuge. Your coterie is a good friend of all factions, and you're doing a service to the city.
Thank you for hearing me out, Your Majesty.
The matter is resolved.
Well, you get what you're after tomorrow when you see them.
Also, Dermot, could I have a word with you?
Oi.
I'll just bow and leave.
Okay. Once you're alone, he says, Dermot, what interest could Obasi have in your coterie?
He, from what I know, he's pretty good at rooting out information and using it to his advantage and all, isn't he?
Yes, but Nigel mentioned something strange. Not only that he is aware of poaching, which I'm not very surprised given the his extensive security systems. He's always protecting himself, especially since his sire died. Poor William. But earlier tonight I spoke to Obasi. So of course when Nigel mentioned that he was aware of the poaching, something stirred in my head. He showed up for an impromptu meeting unannounced, and we had a conversation that was very unlike him, and given that he knew about the potion, now I'm starting to understand why he would want to share with me what he did. But I need to know, does he have a vested interest in your coterie or anyone?
He's got a vested interest. I mean, I find myself in a bit of a difficult situation here, Your Majesty. I'm trying to build trust within this coterie. I want to tell you for a great many reasons, but I hope you'd respect me enough that I don't want to give you everything. If I say that he has a very distinct and specific wish to keep his vested interests at hand, and I hope that helps you. And obviously, knowing such information about certain members of our coterie poaching is leverage that he can use against certain members of the coterie.
And I assume you and your coterie knowing that Caleb was a caitiff was the leverage used against him. Am I correct? Because that's what he wanted to talk to me about tonight. A reminder that his child was to be forsaken of the blood. He is cutting ties with Caleb, and he already started. I knew Caleb was a caitiff that had been taken into the clan, embraced by him, but sadly the Tremere corroborated that he did not carry the inheritance, so to speak, of the blood.
I suppose, Your Majesty, it depends on how much of a hold you want to have on Obasi regarding his child. I mean, he may still be a caitiff, but he's still a child. And whilst I'm sure that Aventru might not respect a child that hadn't come out exactly how they wanted, you know, there's still the fact that he was responsible for his training, and whilst he might have been released, anything that he's done after that is kind of his own back. It has a bad reflection on him. So,
yes, but it's merely reputational, and the boons that were exchanged back then are being rearranged. And he just increased the boon he owed me. He already did that with me. I wouldn't put it past him to have that conversation with the library as well. Potentially changing the record. Or amending it. So it now clearly shows that regardless of his good training, nothing could have been done. You did a great service to me and your clan tonight, Dermot. And I do respect you trying to build trust.
if you want to know, you only have to really ask, and I will tell you. But
let's say that I will ask in the future, Dermot.
Then I will tell you when you need to know. Just let me know when that is.
In the meantime, just know that, well, we gained information now about how to exact justice for those of our of our sect that had been killed. Justice for Oscar. That probably takes power out of Obasi, for I have now dismissed the matter of the poaching and officially forgiven. Not even that. It doesn't exist. It never happened. I have my information, and what's done is done. Obasi no longer has a hold on you.
I'll pass on whatever I need to, but as I say, tonight has been a good night for our clan, Your Majesty, and that's what matters.
Yeah, but I also have to look out for my sect, and regardless of the exchanges of information, Obasi remains a primogen of my clans. Weakening his power base is not in my best interest.
I understand that.
So I just wanted you to know that whatever leverage he had on your coterie has been lessened, but he has also been very smart and lessened the hold you have over him. I believe it's only fair that you see that no leverage is applied in either direction.
I'll make sure people know.
Thanks.
We'll see how things work out in the wash, shall we?
Wish
I don't have any desire to see the cam's power diminished in any way, but sometimes we don't have to do much. I mean, the Anarchs, sometimes they just shoot themselves in the foot, don't they?
Sadly, they do. Now, if you excuse me, there's much I need to do. I need to talk to the librarian and to Roger and to teach and to many others.
Yeah, I'll see you later then.
Good night, Dermot.
Good night.
And with that, you will take Nigel back home.
I'm going to see a man about box.
Oh yeah, there's that. Will
Yeah,
do.
I mean, obviously cut away from this, but just that's where I'm going next.
Okay, cool. So, Matilda, you're having a conversation. Sorry, you arrived to where Oscar asked you to meet.
Yes.
As a member of a multi-faction coterie, you are freely transiting over many territories, but you feel eyes on you the moment you step into Camarilla territory.
Sorry, just prior to this, if I had gotten word in the car that, like, even just a text of, like, A-OK, like, it's been sorted, I would have then, even perhaps if I hadn't, I would have probably sent a message to Roger's secretary just saying, expect a call from the prince tonight regarding information or whatever.
No such message arrives before you talk to Oscar.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
Yeah.
but you can do that immediately after you finish. So it's not going to be something that you forget because it's pretty much in your mind.
Yeah.
So Oscar sees you in a small front garden in Cotham Brow. Small front garden that has a little table with some chairs. He's out there pretending to have a drink. And you just walk in and sit with him. It's like, Matilda, what do I owe the pleasure?
I had a couple of questions about what's been going on recently. How much do you know?
Well, that I'm really sorry that your Anarch election got sabotaged. I know what we have been told, that apparently an organized group in the manner of the old Inquisition, that's sort of the word out, attacked you. And I don't want to start a political argument here. Some people might say that, well, the night of the election is I mean, the election kindred by other kindred might draw attention to our kind. But regardless of what happened, it wasn't very clear the first hours, even the first few nights. And there was a retaliation from the Anarchs. Now, I've heard many things. I've heard that the Anarchs have been waiting to attack. I've heard that the Anarchs thought that Camarilla had attacked them, which is preposterous if you ask me. Others, even those who knew that they had been attacked by this third party, some of them thought that it was controlled by the Camarilla, so indirectly blaming us. Regardless, a number of us, I don't know exactly how many, died. I know of at least 2.
It was 3. I'm thankful that that no one you knew perished. That's good news, at least. No one.
I mean, I have been kept in a very short leash by my clan since I joined. You have to remember, I come from outside.
Yes.
And
you felt welcome?
Well, it's been a few years, but yes, I'm starting to. Yes. I am working closely with my regent, who is also the sheriff, so I'm sort of what they used to call a bully boy. Not that we have much job to do in that regard, other than policing our own faction, so...
I actually wanted to talk about what happened that night, because there was an attack by the Inquisition, but it wasn't just them. It was a member of your clan, Oscar. There was a Tremere.
There's only 6 of us in this city, if you count that anarch woman that works for the library.
You know this Tremere, actually. It's Annie. She wasn't a Malkavian at all.
He looks very, like, as in Adam, like, what are you talking about, woman? Like, hang on a second. Annie is Malkavian.
She was doing a very good impression of a Malkavian for a very long time.
There's no way she could have been Tremere.
She was Tremere. You have witnesses to the fact.
It is impossible she could have been Tremere. Like in London, I was in the chantry in London. I knew the Tremere in London in that chantry.
And you'd never heard of Annie before? You'd never seen her? You'd never...
Never. You have to remember, she was a Malkavian fledgling. She was new in the city. I hadn't even seen her in court.
She, as far as we know, she's very old. And I know. Look, she's an old, powerful Tremere who's very good at deceiving people. She deceived us, and she deceived you as well. So,
I mean, what sort of evidence do you have that she's Tremere? No, it makes...
She was using fire magic. She used some kind of thaumaturgy thing. She burnt my friend to a crisp. I can take you down there to see him if you'd like.
Well,
I wouldn't joke about this, Oscar. So we need to know if there's anyone, even rumors, any legend of some fucking old Tremere from hundreds of years ago. Is there anything you know?
No, but if it's true, it's much more serious than expected. I'm sorry. I must tell this to my regent. He's also sheriff of the city, but he's also the regent of the chantry in this city.
Well, you can. You are more than welcome to, because I know it.
He will want. He will want to see your burnt friend. Did he survive, or can we study his remains?
No, he's alive. When you're not studying anything.
Well, the regent would want to ascertain that it was indeed.
Oh yeah, your regent can come down and actually help us fix him. That would be nice.
Fix him? What do you mean fix him?
He is in torpor. He is burnt to a crisp. He's currently having an ice bath, and has been for the last 3 days.
Okay. Oh, I'll make arrangements with my regent, and hopefully, if he's not too busy, we can sort that out first thing tomorrow or tonight even.
Well, that would be nice. Do you know enough? Can it be fixed?
No. Those old paths of fire and things like that, they are very old, and yes, some would use them, but it's such a flagrant use of our abilities, and also such a crude one. It drew much attention. A simple flamethrower can do the same thing. And why would you need to do that kind of magic if you can just pour, petrol or kerosene or whatever and light it up with a fire? Why expose yourself to burning to a crisp?
I want to know as well. I mean, she was, when we confronted her, I think she was in the mood for theatrics, which is why that happened.
I mean, if I believe you that Annie is indeed a Tremere, I would immediately believe she's an old one, because that is an old path. A very old path of our thaumaturgy, of our blood sorcery.
I mean,
I would have to sit down and study how old and when it started to fall out of use. But I wouldn't expect...
Would you do that for me?
Now, yes. Mostly because I'm curious.
Yeah, well, I'll exploit your curiosity if that's all right with you.
Okay, Lenny, I have to leave. I have to leave. I have to talk to my regent. How do I contact you?
I'll give him my number, and I'll...
He looks at you like, I'm not fucking touching a phone. I'm not getting into trouble to get a hold of you. Okay? I don't know how you honors keep getting away with that. Sorry?
That was a test and you passed. No,
he's not amused by that.
I'll tell him when...
I mean,
I'll tell him where the coterie is located. I'll just say, and I'll tell him where, my flat is. That's probably safer, because...
Well, you're going to be, he's like, I cannot leave.
Right.
Are you going to be in Camarilla territory at any point tonight or tomorrow that I can reliably go and deliver a message?
Later tonight, I will be, and I will be I'll tell him where Obasi is.
Yeah, he's like, you're seeing the ventral primogen?
Don't ask. Don't ask.
Okay, let's say around 4 in the morning? Yeah. Okay, I'll be there at 4. Okay. See, old school, sorting time and place. No need for text messages, because the Second Inquisition can kill you.
Yeah, well, I'm fully aware of that, thank you. Just one last thing. I know you might want to keep things in-house. I know a little bit about how you lot like to sort of deal with these things, but it is something we're looking into, and it's something our coterie is invested in finding the answers to. So we appreciate cooperation. Obviously, that's why I'm asking you. But just understand that we're going to keep investigating, even if your regent says otherwise.
Oh, I'm not worried. If this turns out to be true, Matilda, my concern is not that my regent would want any other party to stop investigation. My concern is that he would drive him in a way no one wants Alexander Walker to be driven. Our clan takes loyalty very seriously. And even though Vienna fell almost 10 years ago, the pyramid's still there. For better or worse. As I said, they keep me on a short leash, but look at me. I'm slowly finding my way, and I'm sure I will thrive. So, so I would suggest that if this is actually true, if you see Alexander Walker coming your way, cooperate. I have a bad feeling about the extent of things he might go to in order to find a rogue Tremere. It just scares me. Okay, Matilda?
It's fine.
So
we'll do what you can to de-escalate, but I understand that.
I have no hope in de-escalating that, man.
Alright, 4 o'clock then.
Okay, 4 o'clock. See ya. And he just literally stands up, walks to the car that is parked in front of where you were chatting, and goes like, bye, and drives away.
Peace out. Yeah.
Peace out. A knock on Janish's study.
Come in.
Evelina shows up. She's kind of sleepy. Like, Janish, you have a visitor outside? A gentleman called Patrick. He says that he's better from his burns and that you offered to talk to him.
Yes.
It's a weird message.
Yes. But I understand it. So
Yes. And as you hint that weird messages are understood by you, she sort of like smiles, like a goofy smile of a girl that is thinking about Sane or something. It's the same smile you have seen in Sane whenever he thinks about Evelina. Those two are like puppy love that is kind of nauseating. So,
yes.
Should I show him in?
Yes, he may enter.
Yes. She goes out, comes back a few moments later, and shows Patrick the way in. Good night. Night. And he starts pacing, looking around the studio, your little office.
Whilst you are here, consider yourself my guest and under my protection.
All right. Thank you.
And you wish to speak with me?
Yeah. You said to seek you out when I was better.
And
I was better, but then things happened between the Camarilla and the Anarchs, and some of us got a little bit carried away. I wasn't anywhere near the murders though.
I'm relieved to hear it. And I must say you have made a very swift recovery given the extent of your burns. I'm impressed.
Well, I still, and he sort of lifts his shirt, and you see some of the burns like slowly fading away. It's taken him a few days, but he was not burned to a crisp. So
I know
Oop.
what it is like to be burned by these people.
Sorry, you cut there for a second, but I think you said, I know what it is to be burned by the...
I know what it is like to be burned by these people. And I know what it is like to burn with the desire to pay them back. I imagine that is why you're here.
Yeah, you're good with words. Yeah, that is it. That yes. I was burned, and now I'm burning to burn them.
Yeah.
Or something.
Well, it is.
What do you know about them?
Well,
who are they? Why did they attack us? How come you know so much about them? And what is with this weird place and all these people that walk around?
Well, that's a lot of questions.
I have all night.
Very well. Well, perhaps we might answer some of them at the same time. Do you wish to sit?
Yeah, and then he just sits there, slumps, and I imagine that you would give him like a cursory introduction on the Society of Leopold, the Children of the Summer, and how they are related to the Society of Leopold, as in seeking revenge because they butchered us.
Yeah.
And you're telling that story, and he was like, yeah, I'm gonna ride with you. I'm gonna ride with you because you have righteous cause, as they said. You have
that is true.
Yeah, you have beef to settle with it. You have score to settle with them, and so have I. So, how do we do this?
Well, whilst it would give me a great deal of pleasure to march over there now and have my revenge, and you to have your revenge.
You know where they are? You know how they are?
We are learning where they hide, yes. But the thing you must understand, Patrick, is there are many of them. And if we simply go and take the first one we find, the others will come back with their fire. They are skilled and practiced at hunting us, and this society has lasted for a long, long time. If we are to truly get our revenge, we must be decisive when we act. We must have all of the information. We must make sure there are none of them waiting it out in a hole somewhere to recruit more allies and come back for us later.
Well, then it's a good thing that I work with Teamsters and transportation and logistics. Maybe I can help if these are people that are coming in and out of the city, or if they have big equipment, or just with people in certain places that can search license plates, driver's license.
If we could get you these things, these plates and licenses, you are saying you could use this against them?
I could learn a little bit more about them. Let's say they're using their own cars. Then I would know who they are, their families, where they live. If they're using cars under a company, then who that company is. And then we can look for other people to help us find out who owns that company and what's their interest.
Well, this is most pleasing news.
I usually sell this information to both crooks and cops. That's how I gain a little bit of a leverage with either, or both.
Well, it may please you to know that we are not the only ones who have been wronged by this society.
So we have
And
allies.
I believe that there are others who will have the information, who will know about these things and be able to provide it to you. I will see that they pass it to you.
So
find out.
How many are we, old man? How many of us Lex, how many of us are in this band, little merry fellow band?
It rather depends what you mean. It is, in fact, a business in some ways of the city. You could argue that the entirety of Bristol.
You know what I mean. You're out to right a wrong.
Yeah.
And as am I. So if you haven't thought about it, something tell me you have. But if you haven't, who are we in this little merry band that seeks justice? I don't care if the city of Bristol under the new library prince, king, or whatever. I don't care. He can be made fucking king of Britain for all I care. He's not gonna tell me how to deal with the people who burned me. So that fucking Nazi can go screw himself. I want payback. And your people want payback too. And you're starting to feel that, like, he's a Bruya. He knows how to rile people up. And he's just pushing the right buttons because Janus feels very strongly about this. And even though he can keep composed, he's feeling that same ardent passion for justice coming from this guy. It's like, who is our petite committee, those in the know, that will deal with these fuckers? Is it just you and I? Because if it's like that, all the better, less people to keep a secret. But if not, I need to know who can I trust and who I can't.
When the night comes, I will gather them together. It is more than you and I, and it is a growing number. So, but it will be a small number, such that we will not be robbed of what is ours by others.
Yes. You know what? I'm happy to meet them when they give me the information you want me to look for. And then,
so be it.
Yes. And he stands up and offers his hand. And he gives you a firm handshake, a slow, measured, that's sort of like old school handshakes, and goes like, we will get our due. They will get their due, and we will get our retribution. Ganesh.
Yes, we will.
We will.
We will.
Well, I imagine that things are a little difficult this night, so I'm gonna leave and start making arrangements, touching base, getting all contacts, so when the information comes, I can start pushing it out. I'll do my stuff, you'll do your stuff, and then whenever you want to get in touch with me, he grabs like a piece of paper and a pencil from your desk and writes an address. And like, look for me here. Or send someone. Let them know that you want to see me. That's it. You'll have me here.
Well, when I need you, you will know. I promise you.
Excellent. Excellent. He starts walking out and says, like, you know what? You're not as weird as people said you were going to be. You're an okay fella. You're right.
Thank you, Pat.
We all have our things, and now I know why people think that way of you. And your thing is that you have the memories of those you cared about guiding you through this. It must be hard.
It is.
It's okay. You don't have to carry it alone. Take care, friend.
Go well.
And Patrick goes actually much happier. It shows. This proves you're passionate about these things. It shows in the way he walks, and when Evelina comes to escort him out, I was like, oh, you're right, doll. Everything right. It's kind of late. I can see myself out. Don't worry about it. And he's like also like he's now more open, more conversational. He's less guarded than how he was when he first approached. He feels at ease. He feels that some progress has been made. And with that, we're going to take this to a break. But first, important announcement. Peter?
So, those of you on Birthday Watch, very important. It is Bex's birthday this week. So happy birthday, Bex.
Feliz cumpleaños beforehand, but you know.
Those of you who were paying attention at the start will know that this is the mid-season break we're coming to here. But please don't go away next week, because although Blood on the Severn won't be here, there will be some exciting things, including a special one-shot being run by a special guest storyteller who, if you look closely, you might even be able to see. Because we'll be doing this, so I'm gonna hand you over to him to talk a little bit about what's going to happen next.
Thank you, Peter. Yeah, very kindly. I have been given the opportunity to run the season spectacular in the middle of the season. A one-night special taking you to the most exciting part of England.
Yeah.
It's a one-night show in Slough.
Oh, yeah.
Indeed.
Spoiling us.
For one night only, 3 lovely members of the community, Sam, Nat, and Kirsty will be... I did get it right, didn't I?
Yes, you did. You did.
Will be... I'm terrible with names, sorry. will be joining us to explore the concrete expanse of Slough and the domain of Windsor and Maidenhead for a one night session, Slough by night. So if you wish to join us for some interesting vampire in the expanse of Slough, then please come join us next week. I'm sure it will be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Definitely. It's going to be very good.
You heard it.
It's always good to see some of our community players in action as well. So
yeah, and we're going to have Nat, Kirsty, and Sam come in. And it's next week, Monday, same time, 7 p.m. UK time. We're going to have our mid-season special one-shot run. Slough by night. You heard it here first. Slough. How many people are running games there?
Yeah.
Not many.
No one.
There are many.
Don't you know?
Unique.
So this is elite vampire role playing. So thank you very much, Rob, for for being our guest ST for
Looking
next
forward
week.
to it.
Do we have any further shout outs? Nope. Okay, so it's like an awkward number time. It's 2042 or 8:42, as you would say if you're not like weird like me. So we're gonna go on a 15-minute break. And I think the most comfortable thing to do is make it like the short. We're gonna come back at 5 to 9. It's slightly less than 15 minutes, but hopefully it's enough for you to go and get your cup of tea or glass of wine.
It's enough for me to get my cup of tea for sure.
And we will be here shortly for part 2 of our mid-season finale on Blood of the Severn. So see you in 15. Well, in 13. Bye.
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 Hello and welcome back for part 2 of this mid-season finale for season 3 of Blood on the Severn. And
before you jump in, Carlos, can I ask you a quick question?
Yes, you can.
Sorry to interrupt you. I was just thinking, you just played a scene with Janusz and Patrick.
Yes.
Do we, or me anyway, not him, get any stains?
You do.
For that?
You do. He doesn't. Sorry about that. You do because it is you creating, like, bringing Patrick into the fold of your own personal revenge. And the thing is that you're affiliated with the library as far as like affiliations go.
Yeah.
So do you have any convictions that will help you mitigate stains for not going with your faction?
I've potentially got 2 that I could try and leverage. I don't know how many stains I'm trying to defend against.
So again, just as it was with Nanjacel, when you're deliberately going against in a premeditated way with your faction or against a conviction, and it is something that will have direct repercussions about that one.
Yeah.
It's likely to be 2 or 3 stains. I'm more inclined to go for 3, which was a similar thing that Nanjacel got.
Yours,
Wow.
Well, I'll take it.
Especially because you had a conversation with the librarian tonight, and you established that everything inside your domain is your business. But you just made a deal which is outside your domain specifically. So it is in your head that way. So
the convictions that I would leverage are, I'm a god, so I don't give a shit what the librarian says.
I fucking love that conviction so
It's
much.
so good.
and the other conviction I would leverage is death must have meaning. Because actually,
yes,
them dealing with him is irrelevant. The way he dies is important. Sorry, he might not die. He might walk out or whatever. But the way he dies is important, and it should be significant. And obviously, that can only be if he dies
in a meaningful way. Okay, so
near-death experiences are also important.
In my house,
Yeah?
under my shoe.
okay, so death must have meaning. Definitely is accepted. And I am a god, and therefore not beholden to those lesser deals and terrain and domain and orders. That's beneath you. So yeah, you do take 1 stain.
Sure.
But that is a good flexing. And both of those convictions need to be refreshed now.
Sure.
If you want, you can also go without them and then gain stains without being able to shield stuff, but that's up to you.
No, I will need them in the near future.
A little bit.
So at this point in time, Matilda, you receive a call from Audrey.
Okay, we'll pick it up.
She's like, hi there, gorgeous. Everything all right? Can you talk?
Yeah, I'm just driving right now.
Where are you going to?
I'm just doing something for the coterie.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's there.
Yeah, I'm just saying, how's Squid?
Nothing has changed. I mean, I still make sure that he's like as low a temperature as possible, but not much. Like I tried cleaning his wounds, but after I took his arm for a while out of the water, I could still feel it warm. So I'm just took him out briefly, changed the water and put a lot more ice and
That sounds good.
He's again there.
I spoke to the Tremere tonight. Spoke to Oscar.
Yeah.
He's gonna look into it. He didn't ask anything for it. He's pretty invested as well. In figuring out.
He's gonna help. He's gonna help Frankie.
He's gonna help if he can. He's gonna do some research, and I'm gonna talk to him later tonight. And
Okay.
he's gonna tell his regent too, so he's on it as well.
Oh wow, the regent.
Yes, the regent.
Wow. I don't. Wow, that. Well, hopefully that'll turn out right.
Yeah, obviously, it might be that they'll probably have to come and see Squid, but we can talk about that down the line, all right? And just make sure that you're comfortable with it. I'm comfortable.
Well, it's not if. I mean, whatever for Frankie, but I don't know if Faisal is gonna be comfortable having the Tremere regent and me.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bad blood between our clans.
I know, which is why I'm going to give you a lot of notice if it turns out he has to come down.
Okay.
And we'll just talk about what works for you, all right?
Okay.
I don't want to put you in an awkward situation.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Have you heard from Mitchell or from Ruby or anyone?
No, I got a short message from Murray.
Yeah.
Saying that they got into trouble and they're laying low for a while. That he would explain later. He didn't say. And I've tried to reply, but probably he just sent the message and then turned off the phone again.
Okay. He didn't say where he was, did he?
No.
You just let me know if he texts you again, so I can try and catch him when his phone's on. You know.
Yes. I'm scared, Matilda.
Yeah. I don't think that's a completely irrational feeling to have right now. I think it's probably quite healthy.
Okay.
I think it keeps you sharp.
Yeah. Well, let's hope it ends soon.
Yeah.
I won't keep you. You're driving.
Yeah.
Eyes on the road.
All right. Ta-ta.
Bye. Somewhere else in the city, Nangisel is having a chat with the person inside you. So you really need this many boxes?
Yeah. I mean, you never know when you're going to need to put something in a box. And it always pays to have a store on hand.
Well, you don't pay me to ask questions.
Yeah, exactly. It's not 20 questions, is it? I'm paying you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of weird because middle of the night, movement. But money's money, and I appreciate it.
Sorry, Carl, so this bloke a person?
This says you're contacting the docs. He's a mortal, yes.
Right, yes. Okay, well, in which case, I feel compelled to remind you that I've only got 5 humanity.
Yes, but...
So I'll be, I imagine, spending blood to look like a real boy.
Oh, you're going to be... how you call it? Doing a blush of health. Blush of life.
Yes, that's what you call it, yeah.
Yeah. Well spotted.
Okay, well, I'm pretty hungry. How hungry am I?
You are currently at hunger 2.
Easy money. This is like the least hungry I've been
3.
in a month. Yeah, okay. Oh, 3, okay.
No,
I'm hungry.
wait. This is kind of odd. The roll 20 is messing with me. 2. You succeeded on the rouse check.
Okay.
You still are
Fine.
at hunger 2.
So I'll pay him, obviously.
So, do you want this delivered somewhere? You want me to just give them to you and you sort them out? What do you want?
So, sorry, can I just ask you, Carlos?
Yes.
So I'm obviously planning to get these somewhere and then put various people in them. So I suspect that can I have Log with me?
Oh yes, absolutely.
Yes, and I'll just get him to give them to me now, and I'll just put them in the car, and then we'll drive to wherever we're going, box everybody up, send them out on their merry separate ways.
Then Lug comes in and talks to the guy. It is delivered, and you drive to the meeting place.
Mm-hmm.
And the person that is there is Ruby.
Yeah, why is she there? I thought she wasn't going to be there.
she approaches you and says like, "Oh, hi there, Nanch. So
Here. I thought he was back at the place being safe.
Mitch and Murray needed convincing, and they feel a lot better if I'm around. If they know, if they see me here with you, and they know Matilda also trusts you just like I do, they will have less issues. I mean, you are going to smuggle them out of the city.
I mean, like they have got time to be fucking picky, does it?
Well, no, but
I mean,
but they do. They are running short of friends, Nanjasel. I'm sure you can understand.
I understand.
And once they're done, then I can join you and perhaps wait in your coteries domain until Matilda arrives and have a chat with her and tell her what had happened. I don't want it to go past tonight.
Sounds alright.
So what is it that's gonna happen? What do I need to tell them so they can come and cooperate? Are you gonna?
Well, they need to go in these boxes.
What?
These boxes are transportation crates. That's the safest option.
And do you
Nobody thinks people are going to be in here. And then when they get to the other end, somebody will open up and get them out. And then they'll be free to go do what they want. It'll just be, you just told me, get them out of the city.
Mm-hmm.
This is the best way of doing it.
Where are they going? Where have you made arrangements to take them?
Sorry, to refresh my memory. I think they said they had a safe house, or they said they had somewhere they wanted to go.
They are,
they?
They're looking to go to America.
Okay, fine. So I would say it's a safe house just outside the domain. So I could do at short notice. Now they can lie low there for a bit, but they have to make other arrangements once they get there.
Oh, okay. So they will have safe passage, and no one will know where they are. And how long it'll take to get them there?
I'll give her the estimate of however long I think it's going to take.
Yeah, you say that to avoid suspicion, you're going to put them in the boxes, you're going to leave them in there for a day or two, and then in 2 days' time, something leaves. It leaves in the day again. So when people are looking to what is being transported, no one is going to look at a ledger 2 days or 3 days after the fact that leaves at 11 in the morning. So it's just hiding the trails. Of course, he feels very uncomfortable at the prospect of them being in a box for a few days.
Well, if you think they're going to have a problem or freak out, because some people's claustrophobic and whatever, can always put a stick in them, and then they won't know what's happening. I mean, I'm telling you, I've done this with people before, right? It ain't pleasant, but it is the way you've got to do things. So they'll be out of it then. They won't remember anything about it.
I don't think they're gonna like it, but let's
see. They don't have to do it. They can stay without the steak if they want to.
Well, they're kind of hungry and they haven't been able to feed that much. Let's.
What? Well, hang on a minute. Do we need to get them something to eat?
Probably. I don't. Yes, but I don't. I want this to be over. Also, it's late, and I don't.
Right. Yeah, you're right. It is late. We haven't got time.
Let's talk to them. Okay. Let's see if we
can.
Right.
Let's do it.
Okay. So when you see them, both of them have clothes that, I mean, clearly not fit. As in, whatever they were wearing that was theirs is no longer on their bodies. They're wearing whatever they could find. You recognize Murray and Mitchell. And they look very uneasy. Of course, Ruby sits down next to Mitchell, like between the two of them, and goes like, okay, Nanjasol's going to help us out. She's going to bring you out to outside of the domain, and you're going to be, on the other side of the channel in a safe house that she managed to get so you can make the arrangements to go to America. but it's not like you're leaving tonight. You're going to be, it's like, what? And they start like sort of arguing, but she calms them down and slowly goes through the plan you explain with, with them, and you yourself do this. And you see them sort of reluctant to the fact of being staked.
I'll say, you could take it or leave it. It might just make your time in the box happier. That's all I'm saying.
Are you going to try to persuade them in any way, or are you just letting it, just to their whim?
I mean, I'll try and persuade them. I don't think she's necessarily super committed to it, but she will try and persuade them because she thinks that is easier for them.
Okay.
And so I'll say, look, two of you are hungry right now. There ain't been time to get you more food. This does two things. First of all, it's not going to do your head in, stuck bored in the box, going to know about it. Second of all, you're not going to be burning food you can eat later, right? I know it's not pleasant. I know it's not what you imagine, but you two are in the shit, right? This is what we've got to do to get you out of here. Now, you don't want to take the stake. You're welcome not to. I'm going to stick you in the box anyways. You're going to have to stay quiet though, because my people are going to take this box tomorrow morning and move you out, such that nobody here is going to know or have any idea where to trace you. That's why you're moving in the day. That's why you're in the box. Right. So, take it or leave it.
Okay. So you're going to be doing a manipulation plus subterfuge because, of course, you are hiding something.
Yes.
Roll. You will get an automatic 10 from Ruby, who is a very good persuader, but also is the person they trust. They trust a lot, and also they're in dire straits. Are you going to do a blood search for this roll? I don't know if you heard me, Bex. Are you going to do
Sorry, yes. Yes, I will do that.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
Sorry, yeah.
So manipulation plus subterfuge plus your 2 dice from your blood search. Remember, you have an automatic 10. Ooh, that turns into a messy critical.
Oh, my favorite kind of critical.
So that would be 6 successes, messy crit. Let's see, what is your margin? Ooh. Okay, so you do convince them of getting in the box. But in the process, you are going to gain your clan compulsion. Because you succeeded in being insidious in a very particular way. So transgression is your clan compulsion.
So now I've got to corrupt the innocent or something, haven't I?
Well, you have to either yourself gain a stain by some means, or
we haven't got to the end of the session yet. Okay, so it could be that.
Or you have to make someone gain stains. Like someone has to gain stains, you or them. You're going to be at a 2-die penalty until you sort that out. For all actions that are not directly related to gaining stains or making somebody gain stains.
Okay, fine. Okay, good. But they go in the box.
They do acknowledge. They do agree to go in the box, and they reluctantly agree to being staked.
Yes. Okay. Don't say I don't have your back, Dermot. So.
Who is going to stake him?
I am.
Cool.
Because I've got Ruby's back. I don't want to be upset by having to do this sort of thing, so I'll just do it myself.
Yeah. Well, unless you want Ruby to gain stains by staking her own lover, but that's up to you. Okay, so you stake Murray.
Yeah.
Who's before he stakes, he says, wait. Let me send a text message.
Wait. You can't send a text message. What are you on about? You fool.
I'm gonna let.
No, you can't let anyone know. Whoever you're going to let know, you tell us, we'll let them know. If you start sending messages now, give me that phone. You can't take it with you in the box.
Shit. Well, okay. Can you tell Matilda that we are okay?
Yeah. Ruby's going to go see Matty after this. It is all sorted.
Okay.
Don't sit there with a phone, texting all the way through the night. Otherwise, I'm telling you, this is not going to work. How do you think that people are going to find you? By your phone. Jesus Christ. Give it me.
you see from the other box, Mitch giving his phone to Ruby. He's like, she's right, you know. Yeah, I know, babe. You know, they're having that conversation. And Morgan's like, okay. No need to get with that attitude. Okay.
Well, I'm putting my dick on the line.
It's okay. He takes off his shirt. He was like, well, I mean, this is the only one I have. So he takes off his shirt so you can stake him.
I'll do that.
He's very, very reluctant, but
he's only reluctant till it goes in.
yes, exactly. But that all stops the moment you stake him. And
I'll
then
be like Ruby. I'll be like, it's for their good. Carry on to the next one.
and then they see the lid of the box being put and then like being like closed and sealed, you know, all properly. Also, you explain how that the box is internally lined, so it completely blocks any and all sunlight. It's also airtight, which is very convenient because if it's like in the water or whatever, it floats. It doesn't let water in. You explained all of those things, and of course, it'll have a shipping tracker, which is common in boxes for that sort. But also, you will have that number so you would know exactly where they are in every step of the way. Of course, this is something you know that you have not shared with them.
Sent off to the sheriff's office. No, sent off. It's sent off to where lovely Dermot will be waiting for them. You'll have the tracking number.
Ruby gives Mitchell a kiss. And then steps away and closes her eyes and covers her ears while you stake Mitchell. Before that, when you put the stake in his chest, he holds onto it and looks you in the eye and says, "Okay, take good care of her."
Make about it. She is in the best hands she can be in.
Get on with it then. And he closes his eyes.
Okay.
And doesn't open it again.
Take him up. And then I will nail the lid down or whatever.
Yeah.
And dispatch them. And then I will obviously be providing great, good emotional support and comfort to Ruby till we get back to wherever Matilda is. Mm-hmm. I will send a text to Matilda that he asked about.
Okay.
After the fact. I'll also obviously be texting Dermot to say, if you were to find yourself stumbling across this place at this time tomorrow, you might find a couple of boxes of people.
With this tracking number?
Yes, who are your other guilty parties. Here's your tracking number. And I defend this. I defend these actions by saying, I'm defending the city, Bristol's heritage, etc.
So I'm not going to make you gain stains because you already have done it. And lost your humanity for it. And somehow all of this doesn't feel bad to Nigel. Because of course you failed your remorse check. You don't feel bad about this. You're doing the right thing.
I am chosen Capola.
You're righteous.
I'm righteous.
Meanwhile, someplace else in the city, Dermot is notified of all this information. So, of course, he will not be intercepting anything tonight. He will send the right people to do the right intercepting, so to speak.
Yeah, he's probably going to be more making arrangements for where he then is going to probably put the boxes after he has stumbled across them in some random place.
Yes. As in, totally out of the blue. So you do. Sorry.
I will be certainly following up the meeting with the Malkavians. He will be trying to get hold of Matilda before her meeting with the Batty.
Okay, so that's good because, of course, Nanjasil leaves to do her thing, and you stay behind. You do get you were in the HQ when you have dropped Nanjasil, and you receive a postcard that says, "We're waking up Sophie tonight."
Okay.
Want to come with?
Yeah, I'll call up to make an appointment.
Hubert will tell you that there was no need to make an appointment because you had an invitation. I mean, this is, of course, how it works. But okay, he's going to be in the church in the wall.
Still working this all out, you know. It's a very convoluted system.
You get there. It's about 3:30 to 4 in the morning ish. And you get to the church in the wall. The moment you go in, the door opens. And now it makes a lot more sense having the church in the wall and having Hubert there. Because it's in the crypt of the church of the wall where they have the torpored body of Sophie Woods. When you arrive, Prince Nathaniel is the one awakening her. And she is a husk. They remove the stake, but she's a husk. Like, I mean, centuries there. And in her dried mouth, that where the lips have receded and slightly cracked, and her teeth are showing, he pours some of his very, very strong blood. And you now, it's a reminder of how strong elders can be when his blood is not only sufficient to awaken her from her torpor, but also to provide her with enough nourishment that she does not wake up in a frenzy.
I'm just glad it's not me because I'm pretty hungry still.
Yes. You're at hunger 3, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Smell of blood doesn't mess with you yet.
Keeping slightly back.
But yes, this is thick, powerful, strong blood. And slowly, sort of, the cadaver paleness of a kindred comes back to her, but it replaces the gray, gaunt frame. Sophie Woods is a youngish woman. Couldn't say for sure. She looks like she lived a rough life in the streets in the 1600s. That's what you would expect in her face. She has marks of the pox. She has... Her eyes are darting everywhere. She can barely recognize the place. Dermot has made sure that the place actually where they are is illuminated with candles. And all of you are wearing old robes, as in priestly robes. Especially to avoid things like wearing a baseball cap or wearing headphones or wearing anything that can give her an idea of what year or how many years have happened, because you don't want to shock them with too many things and overload them. She eventually comes to herself and goes, Nathaniel, and she just stays there. And Nathaniel goes like, easy. It's okay. You are amongst friends. How long has it been in your head? She's like, well, I couldn't tell. I know kindred come and go. Some of them try to reach me. But I see death again. I see death. It's gonna kill everyone. Hundreds of thousands more. It's gonna end. It was like... And Nathaniel puts a hand in her shoulder and says, the plague has come and gone. Sophie, it was dire as you foretold, but it's gone. She was like, no, it hasn't. It comes from the east in flying rats. It's coming. A plague is coming. And it'll kill millions. It'll kill everyone everywhere. It can kill everyone everywhere. It's coming from the east. Another plague is coming. It's not, if it is, Sophie, it's not coming for some time now. You predicted the last plague years before it happened. So, why didn't you tell us why you contacted Dermot? It's like, and she looks around and looks at Hubert and looks at you, waiting to see which one acknowledges to be Dermot.
It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance, Sophie.
You have brushed upon my strands of the bloodline of the clan.
I reached out and I think you cut yourself off for a while, but you reached back. You called to me.
Yes, because I've seen the book.
The book?
The black book. Your name is in it now. It's the most recent addition to the book.
Normally I'd be okay with my name being in someone's black book, but you know, I don't think that's the kind of book you're talking about.
No, this is her list. I've seen it. This is the name of everyone who has wronged her.
Oh, shite. I see.
What did you do to her?
I hit her with my sword.
Oh, she's not gonna like that.
No, she's not gonna like... Well, no. She didn't like it at the time. She's not gonna like it when I do it later as well.
Well,
You know who she is.
I knew of her. She was in the city when I was recognized as a neonate.
What do you know about her?
Well, she was an oddity amongst the anarchs. Because she was Tremere, and and it was strange because she had a lover, a Bruya, by the name of Arthur.
Arthur?
Yes. He did something horrible. He did. No, and she starts like hyperventilating, even though she is dead and shouldn't even be needing to breathe. And Nathaniel grabs her by the chin and forcibly turns her head and locks eyes with her and calm down. What have you seen of this, Arthur? No harm will come to you. I'm here. And she just reaches for his hand, still, holding her chin, and starts rubbing her fingers against his skin and sort of feeling that in the power of his grip, she feels safe. He says, I saw with the sight when he ended another. I saw his soul being tainted by it. This Arthur committed amaranth? Yes. Have you ever seen it happen, Nathaniel? He shakes his head. And she just puts a face of agony and sorrow and pain and sadness so deep that it just confers the message of the horror and the sadness of the ending of a soul, the devouring of a soul.
She's been ticking these names off her list for a while, hasn't she?
She's been trying, yes. But I told everything I knew to Raphael. He was there. He asked me. What did I see? Who did I see? And Nathaniel, for a second, turns to you.
Raphael?
The Archangel, he says. A member of our clan. He was a plague doctor. Some 300, maybe 400 years ago. And I think I remember something. Sophie, was this Arthur the only name you gave Raphael? She slightly, although he has loosened his grip, she keeps his hand in her face. She slightly says no with her head. Says no. There were three who committed the ultimate crime. I gave all three names to Raphael. Rose, Arthur, and Elin. I remember now, says Nathaniel. I remember now. After you were put to sleep, we had a trial. Thomas Waterman was there with Raphael. They accused. Oh, sorry, we are having slight technical difficulties. I don't know if the others can see me. I don't know if you can see me at your place. So give me a second while I try to fix this. This is Tech Ghoul Carlos. We'll be back immediately. There we are. Oh my god. Okay. Everything moved.
Ooh.
Everything was a disaster, but no worries. We did it. So first of all, apologies for that. It was a technical difficulty. The platform we were using for our video feed, which is Discord, had apparently what it was a generalized issue. So we lost our feed. But we have 10 minutes to this episode, and I'm gonna squeeze the life out of every single second of it. Thank you very much for staying with us and for staying in chat. Massive shout out to Phil for keeping people in chat and communicated throughout. Now back to where we were. Sophie is Sophie is telling Nathaniel that, of course, Arthur is not the only name she revealed to Raphael and Thomas Waterman when they questioned her about this. And something stirs in Nathaniel's mind, and he says, yes, now I am starting to remember. And there were three guilty parties to this. Arthur, Rose, and Ylvis.
So, was any of them this rogue Tremere that you mentioned?
And she turns and says, yes, Rose.
Rose. See. Why would she be going around and hunting people down? Did somebody do her ill?
And that's when Nathaniel turns around to look at you and says, she shouldn't. She should be dead. Those three, I remember well that trial, because it was the first trial under the Accords with the three factions. There was an agreement done by members of that Camarilla coterie, the Fowler sisters. They were together with Raphael and Thomas Waterman, and they managed to convince Giacomo, who was an autarchist master of trade, to help and intercede in regulating the Camarilla and the Anarchs to become the balancing faction. And in return, he asked for the autarchies to be formed. So agreements were done, and the best testament of a unified Bristol working together was the execution of 3 Diablerists. Regardless of their faction, they have committed crimes against all of us. They were trialed and put to death. And now Sophie is like holding his hand. He's no longer grabbing her chin or whatever. He's holding his hand and slowly caressing or moving her cheek up and down as she artificially has that sort of reassuring caress. Says, not all of them. She fooled everyone. Another was killed in her stead. And she wrote those names on her list. Those were the first names she wrote on her list. Roger Smith, Giacomo, William Griggs, the leaders of the factions who were the judges and jury. She wants them dead for killing her lover. Then Thomas Waterman, Raphael, Agnes and Mary Fowler, for being the ones who accused them. But more names have been added to the list over the years. And Dermot would know at the mention of Agnes Fowler that, and Mary Fowler, that is the mortal sort of ancestors of Jonathan Fowler, the one who lived here and was diablerized. So in a way, what Sophie's saying is starting to make sense.
Well, I feel privileged to have been added to such a list.
You should.
That bitch ain't the only one who can make a list, you know.
The list is larger. Everyone who has gotten in the way of her revenge. And she has written on the side the reasons for each. The 3 leaders of the faction for their verdict. The members of the coterie for exposing them. Jacinta, Charlie, Shrike, Kraken, Ezekiel, for preventing her on regaining her ship, the Midnight Rose. Susanna Willoughby, and Ambrose, and Temperance, and
Do you know who else is on her list that's still alive?
well, I don't know who is dead from that list, but I know it has a few more names.
Good.
It has Nangisel, Janusz Kroll, Matilda Wells. It had one Carl de Thoreau, but she struck that name down. It's the only one she struck down, and she wrote next to it, "He took care of me." Just like Arthur would. And under his name is yours, Dermot. And Edward Teach. Those
Well,
are...
it's nice to know that I won't have to go hunting too much. It's always easier when people come to you.
Can I look at the stars, Nathaniel? Not just yet. There's much that has happened, and every time you do that, you relax and then sleep back. You are speaking strangely, Nathaniel. Yes, some time has passed, but that is another conversation that we need to have.
I'll leave you to it. I got things I need to do, but I'll be back.
Dermot, perhaps you wouldn't like to talk to your coterie, and Sophie can try and answer some of your questions, given that, well, you are working with the librarian in this regard.
Bye.
She's like, who? Polymathus, dear. Oh. Yes, he's... Yes. And Hubert approaches and says, Hi, I've been taking care of you. And that's now a different Malkavian moment in which, for Sophie, apparently, it's not a massive thing, but it's important that she is reassured that there is a bloodline, that Hubert is the descendant of that bloodline, and his duty has been to take care of her because of an ancient boon between her bloodline and his. So we're going to jump to, from that scene of Malkavian weird tenderness, we're going to jump to right before, well, over for the conversation between Matilda and Obasi. So it's 4 o'clock. You meet Oscar there.
Yeah.
He says, "Okay, have you talked to the Primogen yet?"
Your Primogen?
No, yours. No, well, not yours. The one you came here to see.
Yeah, no, not yet. You got here before me.
Okay. So we don't have much time. So
Yeah.
I talked to the regent.
Yeah.
He's interested in analyzing the nature of the burns of your friend. If he determines that they are done with blood sorcery, then I've been asked to liaise between Priscilla and yourself. Former Primogen, she's also multi-faction coterie.
Yes. That can be done. I mean,
my regent will want that coterie handling that investigation because it has a Tremere in it. Just a heads up, you might need to do some politicking on your end, but that's your thing.
that's fine. Yeah, leave it with me.
Just fair warning in exchange of the information you have given me. So make the arrangement for tomorrow, and my regent will go and study it. I will try to see what I can find about whatever I can learn. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
That's...
And he just gets in his car and goes.
Bye.
And now you're received into Obasi's. It is a small place that has a little warehouse next to it. It's not a warehouse. It's more like a house that has been fitted to hold stuff.
Is it his own personal house, or is this just someone?
Hell no. This is one of the many places he does business. This is the first time you come to this one, though.
Right, okay.
This is not in Clifton Village. This is the outskirts of Camarilla territory. Actually, this is technically contested Camarilla Anarch territory. It's a rundown section of town.
Okay, you're right.
You're taken through a door, and then through a sort of like an office in the back. Turns out it's not an office. It has not a trap door. It's just a stairs going down.
Increasingly more anxious the further we go into this building.
When you go inside and you go downstairs, there are two things that strike you as insanely odd. First, Obasi's there, and he has no shirt on, and he's covered in blood. Not covered, he just has blood sort of splattered on him. And the other thing that you find odd is that there is a chair in which an anarch by the name of Peter Houghton is tied. You know of this guy because he's one of the Bruja that was Camarilla and defected, becoming a massive supporter of Christopher Hughes. A huge supporter of Christopher Hughes. And if you don't speak English as a native language, try to say that fast.
Yeah.
And he says, "Oh, good night. Good evening, almost morning, my dear Matilda."
Good morning. Didn't expect company.
Well, you see, our friend Peter here has some interesting information that we have secured.
I can see that.
He was behind the killing of one of the Camarilla.
Which one?
Our Toreador friend.
And you didn't think to hand him over to Nathaniel?
Well, you see, I wanted to know first who else was behind this. For he insists they were defending themselves. And a couple of...
Well,
yeah. Then a couple of.
I
interesting
just say I want to look at him in the chair. Is he conscious? Like what?
Oh, he looks conscious and tortured. A few names have popped out. People who also were apparently defending themselves only. But nevertheless, brought final death to someone of my faction. Seems a little excessive, wouldn't you agree?
I don't know. Given the circumstances, it's not exactly clear water.
Yeah, so that's why he will live. He will be delivered to the prince. And now, well, he gave me 3 more names. One is Mitchell Davis, which I assume the name rings a bell. Does it not?
And
Monyo Laulua Sibanda, another friend of yours, goes by Murray, I believe.
fucking idiots.
And Charles Benson. Is he another friend of yours, Matilda?
No, not that one.
Well, I believe, and he walks, and now that he walks, because he's been all this time standing in front of you, no shirt, with blood on him, next to some crates and stuff, and now that he moves, you can see that behind one of the crates, in his arm, is this wicked blade, machete-looking blade, that's also bathed in blood. He puts it on the table, grabs a stake, walks towards Peter and says, well, I hope my prince is not as lenient as I have been. And drives a stake through his chest. He grabs a towel, a white towel, and starts cleaning the blood on his face. And in his hands says, so you wanted to see me, Matilda?
I didn't realize I'd be interrupting whatever this is.
No,
yes, I did.
You never interrupt. Also, I wanted to tell you something, but you go first.
I will go first. Your kind offer of a major boon for feeding in your territory won't be necessary, nor will our discretion about Caleb, as Giselle and I have already squared it with the prince. So thank you, but no.
Well, I have also squared with my prince, my child's wayward ways, so I believe we all both lost what we had on one another.
Better late than never, eh?
Yeah. There is one thing, though, Matilda. It's a very important thing. And he grabs again another clean white towel, and he really cleans his hands with water and soap, dries them very well, and goes to a small place where he has a tiny box that he opens a little pouch, and you hear some clinking, and then he takes out one coin and shows it to you. This is me holding your life in my hands, Matilda. You recognize that coin that is made especially for each life boon that is held across factions.
Yeah.
It's always registered directly with the librarian. The herald just makes the appointment and is present, but the librarian is the one who writes it down. You have been very adamant in wanting to reduce or get rid of this boon.
which I'm sure you can understand. Sure, and given being in my position, you wouldn't be particularly keen to stay under my thumb, would you?
You're absolutely correct. I wouldn't mind, though, for you are more of a venturer than Caleb would ever be. And just because I respect you and like you, Matilda, believe it or not, I'm going to cash this in. So after the service is concluded, this holds no more power over you. And he extends the coin to you. I'm cashing in the life boon I hold over you, Matilda Wells. And in exchange, I want you to help me in killing Roger Smith. And that is where we're gonna draw the season to a half point. Thank you very much for watching, and thank you very much for holding on to your chairs while we were having technical difficulties. I think there's somebody who wants to say something.
I was just going to say, I don't know, in all the excitement, but I think there's a remorse check to make.
There is a remorse check to make. Thank you very much for reminding me, Peter. So Janish had 1 stain, and I believe your humanity is 6. Am I correct?
That's right. Yeah.
So that's good because you have 3 remorse dice to roll. You only need 1 success, or just the come on, ghouls in the chat. Give me your energy, or give Discord or roll 20
Okay,
the
I'm
energy.
gonna make my remorse roll.
You should be at least as inhumane as me.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Okay.
Oh, so I get 2 dice, don't I, for remorse?
No, if your humanity is 6, so you have 3 remorse dice because you shielded most of the stuff.
Oh yeah.
So
Okay,
your remorse dice is 3.
Cool. I'm gonna submit.
Boo!
Oh.
I mean, great. You have 2 successes.
Yeah.
I'm taking all your humanities off.
Don't worry, my humanity's gonna go down soon.
Yeah, it will. Definitely will.
He's a god.
Okay.
Maybe I should try and force it that way.
If we hadn't had the power cut, it might even have gone down a bit more. You know?
Yes. I had a scene exactly for that. It would have been like the double whammy of having staying in separate scenes in the same session. But regardless, the Discord gods were kind to our own local Kupala god or something. I don't know. I'm just saying, it's late. Thank you very much for holding on with us. Don't forget, next week in the amazing city of Slough by night, we will have our guest ST for the evening, Rob, running a game for Sam, Nat, and Kirsty. Thank you very much for joining us today. And Blood on the Severn will come in 2 weeks after next week's one-shot. We come back in 2 weeks, so that will be on the 24th of May with Season 3, Episode 6. Only 5 more to go. Let's see how Matilda manages to kill an Elder Baron of the Anarchs. Until then, I'm going to love you and leave you and wish you a great, lovely week. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.